Congresswoman Jackie Speier, a member of the House Intelligence Committee, and Daniel Goldman, former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. What a busy court that is. Let me go to the Congresswoman. We just spent about 15 minutes talking about the latest developments. The Guardian newspaper reports that Paul Manafort met with Julian Assange 3 times, including a critical meeting apparently in March of 2016, about the time he went to work for the Trump campaign, at about the time we were getting the Podesta right after the Podesta stuff was coming out from the hacking by the Russians, and then right before the DNC stuff was coming out from the Russians. It's all starting to paint a picture of collusion between the people around Trump, including Roger Stone and Jerome Corsi and Paul Manafort, et cetera, and the Russians. Your thoughts?
I think what it's also suggesting is that Manafort may have even committed treason when all is said and done. I mean, this is all becoming very clear. The president became manic with his tweets after he submitted his answers to questions by the special counsel. And I'm beginning to wonder if there were answers that he gave that now would suggest that maybe he wasn't being as truthful as he should have been. But clearly Manafort has been not at all reluctant to continue to lie after he cut a deal with the special counsel, and he's seeking a pardon. And what he doesn't appreciate is that he still has state court to deal with as well.
I appreciate that. Let's go about the federal issue. Leave it at that for a minute. And there's a state issue here. The Congresswoman's right, of course. Let me ask you about, we were asking, Susan Page is a really top drawer reporter, was here last night, and she said, if you accept life imprisonment at his age, just life imprisonment, and that's no way to end your life, 15, 20 years behind bars with the wrong people you don't want to hang out with, and a prisoner, why would you take that, which he seems to have chosen by choosing to lie, rather than tell the truth and get out in 2 or 3 years, unless he's facing horrible danger from abroad or he's hoping for a pardon? It's either extreme, it seems to me, at this point.
I think you're assuming that he's a rational actor, Chris, and I think that may be a mistake, because someone like Paul Manafort, who has lied and schemed for so long, thinks that he can pull one over on just about anyone, including prosecutors. I think the most likely scenario is that Paul Manafort wanted to minimize his own conduct. The Congresswoman just referenced treason. We don't quite know exactly the extent of Paul Manafort's international connections, what he was doing during the campaign, but Bob Mueller certainly has a good indication of it. And Paul Manafort would have to admit to all of his additional criminal conduct as part of cooperating, and he may have had to plead guilty to more conduct. He might be trying to avoid that by minimizing his conduct. So I understand the pardon rationale, which I don't buy. If he wanted a pardon, he should not have admitted to all these crimes for a variety of reasons, including state court.
Let me challenge you there then to the Congresswoman. Let me start with the Congresswoman on that. Everything Trump's been saying lately, and his spokesperson, his surrogate, Rudy Giuliani, suggests they intend to discredit whatever Mueller comes out with. No matter what it is, it's no damn good. It's a witch hunt. It's phony. It's this, right. So that it seems to me he is trying to shape the battlefield for claiming it was an unjust misuse of inquisitorial discretion, and therefore I'm going to pardon the guy. And why else does he keep doing this? Trump.
Well, his whole goal is to discredit everyone. I mean, that's his antisocial behavior is in full display all the time, because he gets great pleasure out of discrediting people. What he doesn't realize here is that unlike the Kevin Starr special counsel that went on for 6 months and cost over $55 million, this has gone on for about a year, has cost $17 million. People are behind bars now. People have pled guilty. People have been convicted, and there's something to show for the special counsel and the way that he has conducted himself, which is truly not taking the bait, not taking any interviews, not responding to any of this.
Well, here's Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer. He was asked by NBC News today, or tonight, in fact, that the president has or will offer Paul Manafort or Jerome Corsi, that's the Roger Stone buddy, a pardon. He said, this is Giuliani, is it conceivable that Paul Manafort and Jerome Corsi, who is saying Mueller's people are pressuring him to lie, are telling the truth? And the special counsel, in their zeal to get the president, may be going too far. And just moments ago, Giuliani told the Wall Street Journal It's my job as his private lawyer to tell him you should not even consider it now because it will be misunderstood. That's about a pardon. In March, the New York Times reported Trump's team had already broached the idea of pardoning both Manafort and his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. So you, Dan, you don't think there's any chance of pardons right now? I do, but that's my non-lawyer's view because I believe Trump always shoots the moon. He always does what he's not supposed to do in the worst way. What's to stop him now?
I wouldn't say there's
like
no
he's
chance
going to
of a
pardon his kids.
I'm
sorry. There's no doubt in my mind.
Maybe you're right.
They're not going to prison.
And I would never say that Donald Trump is not going to pardon anyone. I'm just saying that I'm not. Paul Manafort lied to, as part of his cooperation, to get a pardon. But I think that what Rudy Giuliani, he's playing with fire here. Because if he wants to say that the special counsel is pressuring Corsi into lying or pressuring Manafort into lying and that maybe they're telling the truth, the special counsel is going to lay out his case in court. Yeah. He is going to show why he believes they lied, and it is not going to be a close call.
Congresswoman, I'm going to ask you a big picture question for 1 minute. You have 1 minute to answer because it's a really big picture. I get the feeling that Trump's defense is worse for this country than anything he did wrong in the campaign. I was reading about Zimbabwe today, and I've been to Zimbabwe. I know it's a young country with all kinds of problems. But that's a sort of a young democracy trying to figure things out. He is taking us back to where they are, where all the opposition does is say that people who win elections are crooked, that everything's rigged, nothing's on the level. There's no such thing as objective truth. Everything is tribal. Our side is always right. Your side's always wrong. Well, that's my judgment. What do you make of this guy? Is the crime worse? Is what he's doing to cover up worse than the crime or equal or what?
Well, I would say that Vladimir Putin couldn't have dreamed of a better mouthpiece for undermining the democracy. I actually think that we haven't even uncovered much of what Donald Trump, the entrepreneur, was doing in these failed hotels in Toronto, Soho, and in Panama. That's going to start to come out, I think, and we're going to find out that the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act was violated over and over again by Donald Trump and that he was in bed with a lot of mafia from Russia.
Well, we'll find that out when you get the tax returns, thanks to the House Democrats. When you finally take over January 3rd, thank you so much, U.S. Congresswoman Jackie